Hello students, this is Shahnaz Ansari, your social science teacher, again here with a new chapter of civics, chapter number 6, Understanding our Criminal Justice System. As an extension of the judiciary which you studied about in the previous chapter, another important aspect is the criminal justice system, which helps the judiciary function in a fair and a just manner. So, students, let's start this chapter with the important topics which we are going to be discussed in this part. First, I will give you the introduction of the chapter. Then, we will come to know about the 4 key players of our criminal justice and what is the role of the police in investigating a crime and what are the rights of the accused person, what is an FIR and what is a charge sheet, and last, what are the rules of arrest and bail. Rules of arrest as well as the bail. Students, a crime or an offense is an act of breaking the law. Laws are made by the society. So a person who commits a crime wrongs the society as a whole. This is why it is the state or the government that punish a lawbreaker and the police are told not to take the law into their own hands. Students, whenever you come across a person who is violating a law, the first thing that might come to your mind will to inform the police. You might have observed either in movies or in real life. Police official arrest the accused and file a complaint. As the police tend to arrest the accused, it is mostly assumed that the police decide if a person is guilty or not. But however, this is not the case. Once a person gets arrested, the court is responsible for deciding if a person is accused or not. It is decided by the court, not by the police, if a person is guilty or not. The Indian Constitution states that a person who has been accused for any crime should be granted a fair trial. So for fair trials, there are 4 key players of our criminal justice. The first is the police. The police is the civil force of a state responsible for the prevention and detection of crime and the maintenance of the public order. Second, the public prosecutor. A public prosecutor is the advocate who pleads the cases on the behalf of the state or the government and who has been appointed by the government on permanent basis. The third is defense lawyer. The defense lawyer, the advocate who pleads on the behalf of the accused persons or persons. And the last key player, that is 4th key player, he is the judge. A judge is a public officer appointed to decide cases in a law court. Students, now we will discuss about the role of the police in investigating a crime. The police play a vital role in our society in maintaining the law and order. When we see someone violating a law, we immediately think of informing the police. The police represent the civil authority of government. Police officers are entrusted with a variety of duties. The important function of the police in a case is to investigate any complaint which is related to the commission of a crime. The investigation involves various processes such as collection of evidence of different kinds and recording the witnesses' statements. On the basis of his investigation, the policeman is needed to give his opinion. He can give only his opinion. If the police finds that the evidence is pointing to an accused person's guilt, then they file a charge sheet against him in the courts. When he can file a charge sheet? When he finds that the evidence is pointing to an accused person's guilt. Then only he can file a charge sheet against him in the courts. However, it is not his job to decide if a person is guilty or not. This is decided by the judge. In the chapter 2, it has been explained that every person is equal before the law and subject to the law of the land. It also includes the police who has been investigating the case. Hence, the police always conducts investigation of a case according to law and has to give full respect to human rights of the accused. The country's Supreme Court has already laid down a few guidelines which the police needs to follow while arresting, interrogating or detaining someone. While the investigation is going on, a police officer can't shoot, beat or torture anyone. During the investigation time, a police officer can't shoot, beat and torture anyone, even for petty offences. The police is not allowed to inflict any type of punishment on the accused. Now, what are the rights of the accused? The Indian Constitution, Articles 22 guarantees following fundamental rights to every person who has been arrested. First, he or she should be informed of the reason for arrest. Arrested person has to be present in front of the magistrate by the police within 24 hours of the arrest. The right not to be tortured or ill-treated while in custody or during arrest. Police can't torture in his custody. To be defended by a lawyer of his or her choice. Accused can hire a lawyer of his or her choice. It is his right. Not to be forced to confess guilt. Any confession made under arrest cannot be used as evidence in the court. Police cannot force to confess a guilt, as well as the confession made under the police custody, it cannot be used as a evidence in the court. And a boy who is under the age of 15 and any woman cannot be called for questioning to the police station. Now, investigating a crime. Serious offences for which a person can be tried in the court can be punished with imprisonment are called cognizable offences. What are called cognizable offences? The serious offences for which a person can be tried in a court and be punished with imprisonment. These are called cognizable offences, like murder, robbery and kidnapping are the some cognizable offences. Now, what is FIR? These types of offences will be started from the first information report, that is FIR. The investigation of a cognizable offence begins with the registration of a first information report by the police. An FIR is a written report of a crime. It can be filed by a victim or a person who has witnessed or seen the crime or detected a crime. It can be given in writing or detected to a police official who is supposed to write it down. It should contain the following information. The first information is the time, date and place of the offence and the facts related to the offences if known. The name and the address of the person who reports the offence, the names and or description of the person involved or suspected to be involved in the crime. The names of witnesses, people who saw the crime being committed, if any. After an FIR has been recorded, the person who reports the crime signs it and keeps a copy of it. This is his or her legal right. Students, now I will explain you the next, that is jurisdictions. What do you mean by jurisdiction? Jurisdiction is the power that a court of law or an official has to carry out legal judgment or to enforce law. This is called the jurisdictions. Students, an FIR should normally be filed in the police station under the jurisdiction of which the place of the crime lies. However, even if it is filed in another police station, the police station is bound to register it and then forward it to the concerned police station. The Supreme Court has laid down the following rules, direction, which I am going to explain you regarding the filing of FIR. A police station cannot refuse to accept an FIR even if the crime has been committed in an area that is not under its jurisdictions. It is bound to register an FIR even if the person reporting the crime cannot provide all the details required, for example, the name of the victims and the details regarding the crime. If an FIR is lodged in a police station that does not have jurisdiction over the place of crime, that police station must send the FIR to the appropriate police station. If a police station refuses to register an FIR, the person who wishes to file it can send a report to the Superintendent of Police SP concerned or file a complaint in a court or with the Human Rights Commission. Now, framing a charge sheet. When the police receive an FIR or detects a crime, it launches an investigation which may include questioning witnesses, recording their statements and collecting other kinds of evidence. For example, fingerprints, stolen goods and murder weapons. If the evidence collected makes the police believe that a person is guilty of the reported crime, it files a charge sheet against the person in suitable criminal code. A charge sheet is a written document containing the accusation against a person. The person named in charge sheet is referred to as the accused. Students, do you know that all senior police officers in every state are drawn from the Indian Police Service IPS? Recruitments to the IPS are made through an all Indian examination held by the Union Public Service Commission UPSC, and the junior posts are filled by people from the state service. Now we will discuss about the arrest and bail. The police has the power to arrest people in certain circumstances. For example, it can arrest a person suspected of committing a cognizable offense. In the case of an offense that is not cognizable, the offender cannot be arrested without the written permission of the appropriate court. The written permission of a court is called warrant. Person arrested by the police is said to be in police custody. The main purpose of arresting a person is to make sure that he or she appears for trial and does not try to escape punishment. Hence, it stands to reason that if the accused appearance for the trial can be ensured in the some other way, he or she suitable be allowed to be free until proved guilty. Thus, an arrested person may be released or set free on paying a sum of money that is known as bail and signing a bond promising to be available for trial. Students, all offences are not bailable in the case of serious offences called non-bailable offences. The arrested person has to apply to the appropriate court for bail according to our criminal law, it is up to the court to decide whether or not to grant bail. Students, the judgment in the D.K. Basu versus State of West Bengal case, the Supreme Court laid down certain rules to be followed while arresting, detaining and questioning people. These rules known as the D.K. Basu guidelines. And these now I am going to explain about these guidelines. The police officers who are supposed to carry out the interrogation or arrest are required to wear accurate, clear and visible identification as well as name tag apart from their designation. And at the time of arrest, a memo of arrest has to be prepared. It should contain date of arrest along with the time. It has to be attested by a minimum of one witness of the accused who could be accused family's member. The arrested person is also supposed to countersign the arrest memo. A person who has been detained, arrested or interrogated has to write to inform his relative, well-wisher or any friend. If a relative or friend reside outside the district, the police has to notify the time, the district, the place of arrest and the custody venue to them within 8 to 12 hours after the accused has been arrested. So this is about the D.K. Basu guidelines. Now in the next part of the video I will explain you about the role of the defense lawyer, the role of the public prosecutor, what is a fair trial.